Everything I spit rare, we sound a deck. Ray Area podcast, they talk about hip-hop all the way in the UK, so they gon' get props. Ooh, let me catch it once again. Every time we spit.
Before we start this special edition episode, let's just congratulate Little Sims on the Mercury Prize Award. I think we need to, or not we, I think people need to not be referring to her as one of the top female rappers or UK rappers. I think we just need to start talking about her as one of the best artists, any genre in the world right now. She's incredible. Well deserved. Start it on a positive note. Keep it positive if we can.
100%.
We'll try our best.
We'll try our best.
Well, I think we're going to try remain in a positive place because, leading in straight from that, this episode is going to be about the UK and 2 albums that have come out in the last couple of weeks or months. I don't really know how long it's been.
We actually scheduled this album before those 2 albums dropped as well. So it was a bit more of a negative state when we planned this episode.
Well, I don't know about that, but Loyle Carner at the end of his Chucky interview, if you haven't seen it, it's called The Checkup. He said the same thing about the lead singer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, how that guy raps sometimes, he sings and whatever, but it's just music. He's an artist. And I think that is the kind of mindset we need to apply to quite a few UK musicians because, realistically, we've got a lot of artists here that happen to rap rather than rappers who want to be artists, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
it.
For sure. But to keep on a positive note, let's start with Loyle Carner's new album, Hugo. Guys, I'm so impressed with this album. I'm loving this album.
Mind blown.
It's work of art. It is brilliant.
I am so impressed, man.
It's just the mood right now, for me anyway.
Yeah, me too. I can't relate to some of the things,
but I'm impressed by how introspective he is for such a young man. I didn't realize he was 25, 26.
He's our age. No, he's 28. He's 28.
He's 28.
Okay.
28.
It's
impressive, though.
Still,
man.
it's impressive.
He is so impressive.
We don't get albums like this out of artists, until whatever age Kendrick is. Kendrick's in his mid-30s, I think.
Oh, for real, yeah.
Yeah, so it's true.
For him to be on his 3rd album and coming at it like this with this level of artistry, I'm very impressed. That was my first opinion because I'll be honest, we're gonna get onto this probably now. Actually, my first introduction to Loyle Carner is some drunk white guy in a smoking area being like, I don't really like rap music, but I love Loyle Carner. And the second that's the first introduction to me, I'm out. I don't care who you are, how good you are. That I don't need that. You know what I mean? So that was my first introduction, and I just couldn't take it seriously after that.
It wasn't me, was it?
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't
good.
This was this is like 2014, 2013 maybe.
Yeah, I used to get quite drunk back then. That's why I was checking. But that's quite early. That's very early.
Oh yeah,
that's well early.
But back then I wasn't trying to hear all that. I really wasn't trying to hear all that. I was lost in Section Boys and all those people. I was like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Or
I
maybe
was in a different listening experience.
Maybe this is 2017 times. Maybe.
No, it's
2013 is early.
2013. I remember it vividly. Let me check what songs.
Well, whoever you were speaking to is they must have known Loyle Carner because I swear he had 1 EP around that time.
Fuck knows. I don't know who that person is.
2014 he released his first EP. So, anyway, what about Kieran or Theo? What was your introduction to him?
I think my one was the Madlib tune for Yesterday's Gone. Correct me if I'm, is that true? Is there a song that Madlib produced?
What?
No.
Hang on, what is going on?
This is
Sam's heard of Loyle Carner in 2013. Kieran's hearing Madlib songs from what? Hang on.
Wait, no. Let me tell the truth. It wasn't 2013 or 2014. It was 2015 or 2016. Because from that conversation is where I found found out about Slow Tie. If that makes sense. And then I realized I'd already heard Tea and Biscuits because I was like, oh, let me check on my Spotify. I was like, oh, I listened to Tea and Biscuits. Oh, you know about Slow Tie. Oh, and this guy was from the Midlands, so he was gassed. But Loyle Carner's not from the Midlands. He was just saying he doesn't listen to much rap, apart from people that are local to him type thing.
Okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. 2013, 2015, it's all the same fucking time. That fucking weird period of life. That time. Kieran's been listening to the Madlib Loyle Carner off the hard drive. Fuck knows how.
Stop it. I got confused in it. I think it was that song, the Son of Aaron or something like that. I think it's the first tune.
Isle
on
of
the
Aaron,
project.
yeah.
Isle of Aaron, yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing. The thing is, I don't know Loyle Carner that well until this album. I'm going to be honest. And like,
Okay.
literally, like today was the first time I went back to the first two albums and like understood them.
Right.
I think I did try them at the time, but it just wasn't grabbing me. But yeah, Isle of Aaron. I think because it's the same sample as that Dre track on Compton.
Yeah.
I think it's All on Me, which obviously I love that one. So
Yeah, that's a good tune. Yeah. So that's like back end of 2016 then. Back end of 2016.
So
Okay.
it was actually early, to be fair, but
Yeah,
I was
that's before
I was
the
not
debut.
a fan. I've got to say, I was only a fan after this new album.
Oh wow. Okay. What about you, Theo?
Look, I actually found him. Well, it's probably recently. Can't remember which song it is, but it's off his second album or EP or whatever it. I'm trying to think of what it is. Basically, it was on my, the Spotify sort of listens, and it came up and I was like, oh, who's this? And then I started checking him out. I thought, oh, this guy's good because I'd never heard of him before. Because I'm not going to lie, I haven't heard of him. Saying that though, that's actually like I hadn't heard of his music because I actually did see him on like a couple of interviews and I noticed that he was a Liverpool fan, so I did have a bit of a link there. But in terms of music, no, it wasn't until on the second album, and then obviously this album just blown me out.
Right.
So,
Okay. Yeah, I did. My intro to him was probably actually no. I feel like I heard a freestyle, maybe like 2016 times, but when I can vividly remember first hearing him was just after the first album dropped. Because I was doing one of my like searches for music and I saw that it was getting a good critical reception. And I really liked the first album. I thought it was like a great introduction to him as a person. I love that with a debut album when you like kind of get to know that person, their upbringing, who their influences were up until that point, and like what their aspirations are. He kind of gave us all that on that first album, but it didn't like connect with me like say a Kendrick did or trying to think of some other examples. But I wouldn't say I was like a super fan after hearing it. And then album 2, I felt was I don't know. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I felt like it was kind of an extension of the debut. I wouldn't call it a step back, but it wasn't like progression. If anything, I feel like from what the response was to that album, it was a bit, I don't know. It was in terms of like the energy and the tone, it was a bit samey throughout. It didn't have the highs and the tracks like the Isle of Aaron's and the No CDs and things.
There
like
was
that
no high energy. I don't think there's any high energy tracks.
Very little. There were. I think is it Ice Water? Is that one of the tracks on there?
Oh yeah, wait, that one. Yeah,
that's a tune. But yeah, I think that one it was just like I say, an extension. So I liked Loyle Carner. I bought his music and things like that, but I wasn't really I don't feel like I connected to him until this one. This one just hit straight away. I knew there was something with the singles, but it was one of those ones where you need to hear the album in totality to really 100%. Get the singles. I'm blown away by this one. This is a great album. But just what I was saying about the energy and the tone of the second album, I feel like talking about the production on here could be a good place to start. I mean, do we think this is his most expansive and varied project to date in terms of the sound?
Speaking as somebody who hasn't really listened to much Loyle Carner, right? I think this is one of the most cinematic albums I've heard without the overt kind of attempt at being cinematic, if that makes sense.
Using strings and stuff like that to make it, I get
you. It builds, it grows. Every song is like its own. It's like every song's like an episode in a TV show. You know how in a TV show it's like it's either one of those ones where it's one continued story, so it's like an endless movie, or each single episode is its own, mini movie type thing. And that's what each one of these songs feels like to me. So, kind of thinking on what you said about progression, I haven't heard any of the progression, but I have heard this album and gone, oh, fuck, this is like one of the most cinematic albums I've ever heard, if that makes sense.
Okay. Kieran and Theo, tell me if you think I'm wrong or if I'm missing anything, but what I would say, Sam, is like, it felt like up until this point, Loyle Carner's music was loungy, like lounge rap. You know what I mean? Had that chill vibe.
Yeah, I completely agree with you with that, 100%. That is the vibe. That is the vibe that when, like I said, when I first got introduced, that's the sort of that nice chill vibe. It's even with his flows and the way how he delivers his delivery as well. Is like
and the
nice,
stuff he's saying too.
Yeah,
the lyrics are always like inoffensive stuff, but the first. Well, I'm jumping a bit, but like the first track is so shocking. How like he's like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. It really grabs you.
This album's urgent, right? This is like straight to the point, in your face. it's interesting you say cinematic as well. I might be way off on this, and just tell me to stop if I am. But has anyone here seen the film Annihilation?
Yeah, love that film.
Yeah, yeah.
We were talking about that on Monday, but yeah,
we were. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You brought it up. Yeah.
yeah.
So that in the first track, hey, there are some sort of like synth stabs towards the end, I think,
Right.
where it's like do 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 like that,
Yeah.
and it sounds like that droney kind of sound, like the soundtrack of that film. I don't know why it reminds me of that, but for you to say cinematic, that's cool. And then also what's the song on here? Is it Plastic? Or that's just complete. Yeah.
Well, the beginning isn't the beginning of that with all the like kind of like news clips type thing. Yeah, that song.
I'm sure it is because he talks. I'm sure that I'm sure that's the song Plastic. Where
Plastic's got that funky
report.
bass line.
Yeah,
and then there's a break in it where it again, these weird sort of droney synths come in that again remind me of the soundtrack of that film. But yeah, I agree with you. It's cinematic, but also, and I didn't pick up on this until I heard Loyle Carner himself say it. But he was talking about how they were kind of inspired by video games, and that like the album is a journey, and it's almost like at each song you're completing a level.
Right.
And at the end of the first track, that kind of abrupt ending was like, mission complete, on to the next one. Quite cool. I never picked that up until he said it. Whereas now I'm thinking of it like that. It's like going through these stages, a little bit like Kendrick's with the therapy sessions and things like that. And there are parallels to Kendrick's album here as well.
I think you can't deny the fact that Loyle has said himself, and I think any rapper nowadays is like, I listen to Kendrick, and Kendrick does push the culture forward. He is, I obviously I'm coming fresh off the gas of seeing him live, but like Kendrick is the best right now. He pushes the culture forward, and everybody kind of not mimics what he's doing, but definitely has an affinity to do what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like almost like a subconscious or unconscious influence, right?
Yeah,
he sets a bar, and then artists kind of follow. It was interesting. I know we are kind of skipping now, but there were, I think on maybe one of the last tracks, Loyle literally says "hurt people, hurt people."
Yeah, I was like that. And I just thought of Kendrick straight away when he said that. I'm not gonna lie.
But not even in like a biting way. Yeah. It was just
not all. It made sense in this universe.
Oh, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
but like looking,
Kieran,
at
you think he's building a universe with this album? Like he's building like a.
I generally think like most good artists do have their own like universe they live in, and they bring us into that world as well. And I think this album especially, I finally understood like the world Loyle lives in. And yeah, does that make sense? I think he's really like explained it so much more than Yesterday's Gone and the previous one.
Yeah, I think with this one, and I don't want to jump ahead too much, but I think he's always been introspective and honest and quite raw with his lyrics, but I always felt it was from an internal place and more like this has happened to me and this is how it has made me feel. And he would talk about, he's had his mum on albums and he's spoken about other people in his life, but this one, it felt bigger. It felt like, okay, this is what I experience, this is how it makes me feel, but why? And this isn't only happening to me, it's happening to the community. And do you get what? It's bigger. Everything's bigger with this album. And
he added the why in it, which was the
part. And back to the production. I mean, if you go through it, you got Hate, Nobody Knows, Georgetown, Speed of Plight. Throughout all those 4 songs, it's not until Homerton where I go, oh, this sounds like a Loyle Carner song. Yeah. Those 4 tracks before, I was like, oh, this is different. And it was just refreshing to hear him, not just on, I guess, on production like this, but just coming from a more, I think I said it already, like an urgent place. It was like, no, I've got a lot to say, but I'm going to get to the point. And I'm just, I guess, like there seems to be more passion here as well. The delivery is different. It's elevated, I think. I
think something that I didn't really realize without having watched a certain interview, the BBC Radio 6 one, was the fact that this album was made in sequence, which I feel like is what leads to it feeling like such a nice little journey, because, it's like, do one song, do the next song. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in everything inspired everything else. But at the same time, he said he had like a plan for the album, if that makes sense. Which is, to me, I know he's a forbidden name, but it's almost Kanye levels of album construction here, or, Tame Impala levels of construction, of having a theme or having a guiding star, rather than be like, oh, I've made all these songs, let's try and mash them all together. And I'm sure plenty of other artists do this type of thing. But, for him to say it out loud, and then for me to have listened to the album a couple of times before knowing that, I was like, That's what's different here.
Mhm.
Do you know? That is in, it's not just you being yourself, but it's you going through the album with us at the same time rather than throwing it all together.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
And it feels like he, the engineer who, I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name, and the producer Quez really locked in on this one. Like the three of them really. There's other producers on it. Obviously, we've mentioned Madlib, which is actually, side note. Is there another UK rapper that's got Madlib beats?
Don't think so.
I don't. Yeah,
Not
because
legit.
Loyle
that's
Carner
a
already
Crazy cosign.
because that's what
Loyle Carner
I
wins.
thought. Yeah, exactly.
Wins.
I'm with you, because when I saw that it was Madlib, I was like, "Damn, you're winning already. You're getting someone like Madlib's quality to like produce for you on your album.
It's a
That
good
is- that
Madlib
is
beat as
amazing.
well.
Yeah,
It's not
got
like
lots
it's
of
not a
songs
wasteful
together.
one.
Hard.
Yeah, it's
Apparently,
class.
they got a few songs together and they're coming out in the future, I assume.
Yeah,
but,
I heard that. Yeah,
but
crazy.
I don't know if any other rappers do have them, but you know, rappers have obviously got beats from, you know, producers on a similar level to Madlib, but still, this is something else because it fits into this album so beautifully.
He doesn't try to be American on it as well, which is what I love about Loyle.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very much from a he very much makes traditional hip hop, but it's not a UK guy trying to be American. I'm with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I just want to do a big shout out to Quez, because I'm not saying it's inflow levels or anything like that, but this is another UK producer that needs to be spoken about
I'm
more.
very impressed with Quez.
Yeah, yeah. And I know there's other producers in there. There's some familiar names, and there's some other ones that I've not heard of. But he is on. I think, or they've got production credits all over this, and yeah, it's incredibly impressive, man. Even just like going back to Plastic, that I love that song, man. The like from a production standpoint, that, like I say, the kind of like funky bass line and then it goes into these like weird synths, and then it comes back in again. It's like a journey, that song, big time.
the album as well. There's a lot of live instruments on it because I originally thought a lot of the things I heard were samples, but it turns out they
Me too.
might have started out as samples and then been replayed. And you know, there's smaller parts of samples in there, but like a lot of it gets replayed, which I think
Just like the
allows-
drums in Hate.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a drum loop sample, but
But it's
you
not
see that
playing
video
it.
where it's crazy.
They were talking about it being like the Justin Timberlake song, right?
Yeah.
A bit, like I Love You.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that until they broke it down. It does sound a bit like it, but I like the
I
drums
felt it,
all over
though.
this.
I think I felt it more than I heard it because I was like, I like this groove, you know, but it's also kind of like, it was giving me, because at the time I was listening to Kendrick, I was like, it's giving me the intro to the album vibes of that. You know, there's that drum beat that comes in that
Oh yeah,
like, I
yeah,
agree
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
That it was giving me that drum beat vibe, but obviously it's nowhere near the same, but it's just the same idea of being in the room in the mix type thing.
Yeah. No, this is definitely, in my opinion, his best produced body of work, and the most like expansive as well.
No doubt.
Many different sounds on here, but I think the more interesting conversation is the content, the themes of this, because I think I said it earlier. This album it feels like a journey. It starts at one place and it ends clearly in another one. You know, there's some of the obvious themes on here are things like race, identity, fatherhood, things that he has addressed in the past. But do you think this, like the production, goes deeper than anything else he's done before?
Oh, he went
As
real
someone who
deep,
hasn't
like that.
listened
Yeah.
to Loyle Carner, I can't comment on that, but I can just tell you that this is a very deep and a very real view of a certain type of person's experience. Now, obviously, none of us on here are mixed race or whatever it is, mixed heritage, you know, the right phrase.
Mixed heritage is the right phrase now, because I know it all too well, because all three of my kids are going to be mixed heritage,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I have to educate myself.
I was going to point it over to you, Theo.
Yeah,
but-
exactly. I have to educate myself and make sure. That's why I resonated with that when obviously when you had that guy saying it. Whether I repeat it or not, HC, I might say that half cost, but I found it really interesting. He went really deep into that, and it was really interesting to understand that. I thought it was, very deep.
Do you mind if I ask? Because I always think it's just better to ask the question rather than tread on eggshells or like pretend like you know. Why should it be mixed heritage rather than mixed race?
Because it was, and I'll tell you who educated me for this. This was Harriet, because I thought mixed race was fine as well. But Harry will say, if you're mixed race, then you're like a mix of something. You're not like a identity as a whole. If you're black, you're black. You're like one person. If you're white, you're white. If you're Asian. If you're mixed, you're a mix. You're not like one sort of group. So if you're dual heritage, it's that sort of aspect, and that's
It's
the
like
reason behind
terminology.
it. Yeah, it's the terminology, because and they say it's better like that. There's more to it as well. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. There's more to it because Harriet's actually got a book about it, reading up about like obviously dual heritage and all sorts, and how to sort of bring it out correctly, because that's the thing that I need to educate myself on as well, especially for these 3 children.
I'll let Kieran speak, but I just want to add to what Theo's saying. And I think the thing is with being mixed heritage or dual heritage is the idea that it's not its own thing quite yet. It's like exactly. you've got two things you need to learn about. You need to learn about both sides and make from that what you will. But then also what you've got to probably understand from the the more, if there is, because normally it's ethnic side, English side, or ethnic side, European white side. The ethnic side or the kind of black side of you or whatever side it is, they might not know their own heritage that well either. They might not have never visited their home country. They might not know the ins and outs. And that person that you're learning from might not even be accepted in their own country. They'll look at them as British. So it's one of those ones where when I was listening to this album, I was like, he gets it. But he gets it in a different way to me, because I don't have the same struggle as he does, because it's like, oh, you're black. I'm over there. Like, cool. It's like, I'm actually not quote unquote black. I'm half Caribbean, half African. The Caribbean side's mixed. The African side is just like straight down the line, South African to the soil. And it's like, to deal with that level of confusion and do what he did, where he went and spoke to his parents and all that kind of stuff, something that a lot of people don't do, even for people without that level of confusion, if you get what I'm trying to say.
But well, he said something interesting in I think it might have been an interview, that he went to Guyana, which is where I think his dad is from. And he said how he said he felt like he fitted in there until we spoke. And then he realized like, oh, I'm like, I don't really know anything about this part of my heritage and my, and this side of the culture that I'm kind of, where my roots are. But then he also comments on the fact that he's like his dad, like through reconnecting with his dad sort of taught him some things about that side of his heritage. But then he also taught his dad some things about like what it means to be, I guess, black in the UK, like, that kind of culture. That was quite interesting as well. No, sorry, I know we've gone kind of deep. I just always think it's good to have the conversation.
No, it is good to have the conversation.
Let Kieran jump in. Let Kieran say what he's going to say.
I think there's another angle to the mixed race not being used as well, because it changes the lens of the perspective. Do you know what I mean? Because race is something that other people have imposed. That's not like a real thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like a cultural thing. But it's not like like, for example, if I was like half white, half black, like I'm not a mixture of races, because like, what is a race anyway? It's not actually a real thing. Okay. So like, to put it as a heritage is like, I don't know, it just frees you from that lens. Do you know what I mean? It just frees you from the lens of race.
Yeah, definitely. Because if I was going to say, because if you put it as race, someone's growing up feels like they can't even connect with either side. They feel like, oh, I can't connect with the black side, I can't connect with the white side, or it doesn't matter. Say if you were half, see now I don't even want to say, but say if you're dual heritage of the Asian and white side, again, you might not fit with the Asian community, you might not fit with the white community. They feel like they're like their own bracket and they can't, but they haven't got somewhere to belong. And it's really important to establish that and understand where they're coming from, because that's something growing up I always used to think, oh yeah, you're mixed race, you're fine, and I never understood that until like later down in life. And then that's why I think Loyle just touches on that point really, really well, because it is something that people are now starting to understand a lot more going forward, because it's a struggle that so many people have gone through. And unless they speak up about it, well, I say unless they speak up about it, I've personally educated and tried to find out a lot more, and I didn't realise how deep it gets.
I feel like Loyle on this album kind of hints at the fact that even though he knows he's, two heritages at the same time, people just saw him as a black guy. And for him, he had the experience of a black person, which is, certain things being imposed on you. And these are the experiences I never had in my life, of people telling me you can only do this and you can only do that. But I know I had a very kind of, mostly privileged upbringing. But for what he was saying, it was a very kind of like honest and open perspective that I feel like a lot of people go to the angry side of it, but he actually went to the introspective, analytical side of it all, and not broke it all down, but definitely like opened up the conversation. And you know, funny enough, we're here having a conversation about it. But you know what I mean?
And this is what separates good from the great to me, is that, and I'm going to bring up Kendrick, is like, you know, what Kendrick did with Auntie Diaries. Of course, there were, you know, some people were offended by it, others just felt it wasn't executed right. But what it did was, I guess, continue the conversation and opened it up to more people. And although it might not have been executed perfectly, many people, including myself, have learned things from that song. And then this album, and then the conversation we've just had now, again, I'm speaking for myself, I'm learning. And that can only be a positive thing, in my opinion. There's no hate speech on either of these albums. It's progressive, and I think it's amazing. I mean, what Nobody Knows is one of the best songs this year. One of the best songs to come out of this country in a long time, I think. And just that simple 2 lines that, you know, I told the black man he didn't understand. I reached the white man, he wouldn't take my hand. Immediately you're like, oh, okay. And then obviously he goes into more detail, but giving that perspective of someone who has grown up dual heritage, I don't know if I've ever heard it like this before. I don't know if I've ever really fully grasped what that kind of, how that must be, how much of a struggle that must be at times for some people. So yeah, credit to Loyle Carner for really bringing that to life. I've said it a couple of times. I spoke about Journey. I feel like, I don't know how you all feel, but I feel like there's a real arc to this album. Like I said, he starts in one place and ends clearly in another. And I feel like for me, it's anger to forgiveness, right? I think that's quite
Definitely.
simple.
I think he comes from a really compassionate place, and you can tell it in the interviews as well. Like, he's very forgiving and just nice to all the different kinds of people he's been interviewed by. And I think it comes across with the music too. Like, he's talking about really difficult things he's gone through or is experiencing, but he's kind about it always. It's hard to explain, but he's always nice about it. I think he's nicer than Kendrick in some ways, because Kendrick starts shouting sometimes.
But we heard it last week. Kendrick was screaming his head off in certain songs that were like, wow. But yeah, I think that, I mean, when an album is only 10 tracks long, it does have the benefit of being concise and having that replay value, I think. But I think the first 3 tracks of this album in particular is some of the tightest, most like thematically cohesive I've heard all year.
Sean, I would say
like
5.
in a long time.
I would say 5. Like, the first 5 tracks blew my mind. Like, that sequencing is unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no. Look, to be honest, and we can get into it as well. I think that up until, because I want to have a separate conversation about Plastic. Up until Plastic, I think that it's incredibly tight. But those first 3 in particular, if you really sort of break it down, obviously you start with Hate, and he talks about, you know, all these things, these kind of, I guess, like contradictions and like thoughts going through his head. It's almost like a stream of consciousness track. But he says something towards the end about his father, I think, which obviously goes on to Nobody Knows, in which he finishes that, where he talks about his sort of issues with his own identity and whatnot. But he kind of ends that track by saying, you know, how can you, something about the roots of the tree, and how can I hate my father without hating me? So immediately you're back to that theme of hate, right? And then you go into Georgetown, which is this song again talking about, you know, being someone who is of dual heritage, but using a very dated and offensive term.
And a classic poem, by the way. That poem that's playing in there is absolute classic. I remember hearing that in school. I don't know if, you guys probably wouldn't have heard it. They only really played it on like Black History Month events and stuff, but yeah, that song's a pure classic. What song? Yeah. The poem is a pure classic, especially because of the keys on the piano thing and all that kind of stuff. Because it's
that's what I was going to say. Is that like that refrain there, like black like the keys on the piano, white like the keys on the piano, is one of the most. It's genius to me to put it like that, because I've heard people in the past that say, "Oh, what's wrong with saying that term to describe someone who is, well, like just for the benefit of the conversation, mixed race? Like, why can't you call them? You know what word I'm talking about, right?" Yeah. And I'm sure most
listeners about half caste.
Yes.
I'm
yeah.
not scared to say it, but that's a whole different conversation. Words are
Yeah,
words,
it's
and
a-
when used in context, I think they're fair. But that's a different
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That
So-
word
but
always, yeah.
to use the piano and that poem to describe
It's so
like why
beautiful.
yeah, it's
it's
brilliant.
amazing, man. And
Every time I hear
it
it.
links back to what he's saying in the previous two tracks. Just those three songs. I mean, I'm not really going into it as in depth as I probably should, but I just think those three in particular, the way they link together thematically, is just there's not a wasted line. You know what I mean? It's just if that was an EP, it would be the greatest EP of all time. It's just
You know,
so well done.
it reminds me of Kano's Hoodies All Summer. Like, remember just those first three tracks? They just link so well. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but like, yeah.
Well, no, I feel like this album in general is a continuation of what Kano did with that album, what Sims has done with the last two projects. I guess kind of what Dave done with his last album, what Stormzy did with the recent video. You know, there's just this. I don't know. There's just this feeling and this. I don't know, this level of artistry coming from this country over these last few years. I'm skipping ahead now because we're going to talk about more of that later on. But yeah, I get you, Kieran. I get what you're saying. Yeah, did anyone pick up on anything else, like thematically, or like does anyone want to talk about a particular song or that stood out for them?
I'd like to talk about Polyfiller.
Okay.
The title
Okay.
in and of itself is implying that he feels like he hasn't really got his place. You know what I mean? Like, as in Polyfiller's there to fill in gaps and all that kind of stuff. I don't know really what he's trying to get at, but it's like I don't really know what he's trying to get at, but it's like maybe he's talking about his experience of the place he grew up in, if that makes sense. Like, but he feels like he never really fitted in because he wasn't, you know, selling drugs or this, that. He just wanted to rap, and you know, he kind of comes to this point where he's like, oh, I'm famous, but like I'm not big famous, you know. I don't really know if I've explained it that well, because it kind of is at the end of the album. By the end of the album, I'm in a very kind of like out there place. I'm not really in a position to take it in, and in my books, we're talking about this album far too soon, really. Like, I haven't had any chance to really.
This is one of the
You know
albums
what?
you need
That's
to
so
sit
true. Yeah,
with.
you say that because I've played this album so many times, and I still feel like I still need to deep the album. I'm still learning about this album every single time I play it. I still like peel another layer and understand it.
It's like a
even more
Kendrick
than-
album,
yeah,
really.
more every single time.
Yeah, I
It's
feel like I
incredible
understood
to do
Kendrick's
that.
album faster though, because it was a lot more in my face and a lot more kind of like easy to understand. But I think yes, something like Polyfiller, I need to sit with it more. But I definitely want to see what you guys think about that, because it's, you know, it's the penultimate track on the album, and this album we all agreed, even at the time of first listens, we would say this is a strong album, no wasted songs, you know, nothing sitting for too long, nothing dragging, all that kind of stuff.
Well, just before, like, someone else might want to say something about that track, but I think just on what you said, Sam, about like needing more time, I guess the difference with Kendrick is that, you know, you've been a fan for a long, long time with Kendrick. You've sat with bodies of work for years and years and years. So even though we hadn't heard from him for 5 years, and that, you know, it's a complex album, you feel like you somewhat know the person and you can kind of get them better. If this is like your first real, like, in-depth, not introduction, but yeah, if this is the first time you've really sat there and taken in a Loyle Carner project, maybe it would be a benefit to go back to the previous two now and then come back to this. Do you get what I mean? And see.
Sean, I was
whether-
about to say, yeah, because when I listened to the first two albums earlier today, I was like, there's so many songs on this where he was hinting that he was going to do what he was going to do on Hugo. And I think you even sent one from Not Waving But Drowning. I can't remember what song was that.
That's true, and that was an
And
early
that
indication,
song,
wasn't it?
that easily could have been on Hugo, just from the content. What was it?
Looking back.
I think it was that, yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I can remember him really commenting on his, you know, his kind of, I guess, his struggles with his own identity and things like that. And then obviously it almost felt like a precursor to this album. Like maybe that sparked the idea for this one later down the line.
So definitely going back definitely helps, I think, with Loyle's album.
I think the interesting thing with Polyfiller, and it kind of links in again, like most of these tracks, links into things he says previously on the album, is he has a line on there where he says something. Well, he says something like, and who said, was it you, Kieran, that says he seems like quite did you say he was like an empathetic person or something? I can't remember what
Yeah,
words
I
you
did.
used. Yeah.
I even said this on the pod just now.
Yeah, so he said, he says there's a line there where he says to empathize with the villains in the fable. And he talks, and there's another one, and later on he says something about to break the chains and the cycle. And it comes back to what I said previously about how, whilst this album is introspective and deeply personal, it's kind of looking at it from a more external place as well. Because on songs like, what's the fourth track called again? Speed of Plight, when he's talking about being scared to go on the, no, sorry, I'm thinking about Blood on My Nikes, where, you know, that's obviously quite a harrowing story, but he talks about being scared of the boys on the night bus. And he kind of talks about things like that in Speed of Plight, about going to certain areas because they're tense. Maybe I'm confusing it with Blood on My Nights again. But what I'm saying is there seems to be this, what I get from it, I might be wrong, is that he's talking about, I guess, the struggles that he had in not having his biological father around, and how that's affected him and the journey he's been on. But he seems to be kind of like commenting on how things like that have affected the community and other people in the culture. And I feel like that song, Polyfiller, it kind of comes a bit more full circle when he talks about, like, when he brings it back to him internally and he's looking at his son there. He wants to break that cycle, a bit like Kendrick again, breaking cycles of the, you know, what his dad kind of did to him and what his dad did to his dad. And do you know what I mean? Things like that. And now he's got his boy there. He's thinking about how it's affected not just him, his community, and like, I want to stop it here and improve things going forward for my son. I might have butchered that. I don't know, but
no, you're right.
I
I
don't
think
think you
something that
butchered
we
it
need
at
to kind of acknowledge is we've all got the privilege to be able to be better parents. We don't know what our parents had to struggle through and go through to get to where they're at, you know, whether that's immigration, racial issues, financial situations, you know. Let's put it in perspective. A lot of people's parents listen to this. A lot of people, you know, that I know, their parents have no degrees, nothing, but somehow they have a job, they supported children, they have a house. And yeah, obviously, you know, houses were cheaper back then, jobs were more plentiful. But it's like, you know, all of us on this call have been to some form of university, finished it or not, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm sure a lot of the listeners too have degrees and all these chances to just exist, sit and think, you know, not like literally be fucking blinders on, right, I've got fucking work, I've got to provide. And I feel like the thing that Loyle Carner has the privilege to do as a father, not only a father with a career and hopefully a fruitful career ahead of him, but also he's educated. So he's got enough awareness to go, not only do I want to be a good dad, but I want to make sure I'm the best me I can be as well. Rather than be the best dad to his child, he wants to be the best version of himself for himself. So he realizes how that kind of impacts who he is on the whole. You know what I mean? As in being a father, he has to level up. He hasn't got all the time he thought he had to figure it out.
Yeah. I know what you mean. He's self-deprecating too. Like, although there is this this journey of going from sort of anger and hate to forgiveness, not just of himself, but of others in his life, particularly his dad. He does also, it feels like he's also aware that he's not figured it out fully. Like, he's in a better place, but he's not figured it out. Like in that same song, Polyfiller, he says, I hold my son up. I'm trying to play it cool. But I'm the villain in the story, the exception to the rule. And on Plastic, which is a song that I want to get to soon, by the way.
Well, you missed out the next line.
He talks about all these things and people being plastic and this and that, but then he says, I'm plastic too.
You missed out the next line of, did the pressure bust a pipe or build a diamond? You know, there's a whole phrase
that line is so good.
It's like, pressure makes diamonds. Yeah, pressure also busts pipes and you know, it causes leaks and stuff. It's like, you know what I mean? So, sorry, continue.
I like that as well, because you know, people always talk about like, oh, you need to grind, you need to like keep pushing yourself, and like you'll end up being a diamond. But like, actually, sometimes you can like break as well.
Well, it's true. It's like when they tell you to just get on with things, it makes no sense. If you get on with things and carry on to just bottle all those things, yes, they say pressure makes diamonds, but that pipe will break. And when that pipe breaks, it's a struggle to then try and close it off. So it's a strong line.
Well, like just before that line, he says, cycle through the city, thinking stupid stuff, acting like I'm quiet, but I could erupt. And I did. So it's like, you know, it's not perfect. But he also talks about seeing his dad blow his lid and things like that, the cycle. So, oh man, this album's amazing. But Plastic. This is the only song, and I'm really hoping that one of you like enlightens me. This is the only song on the album where I don't quite get how it links in with the journey, as I keep calling it. I understand what he's saying in the song, what it means, but I don't understand how it fits the overall, the recurring theme throughout. Does anyone else?
I'm gonna be real, Sean. If you don't understand it, I don't think any of us three will. You understand this album most.
Sean is the most educated person on this podcast.
As soon as you were saying that, I was like, sorry, I can't help you, man. I'm not there yet.
I'm still in the world. Like I'm trying to process this album.
Yeah.
Like Sean sounds like he's through the finish line. He's got it all.
Yeah, Sean's got all the Infinity Stones, and me and you are just.
Yeah, man. I'm only on
one.
Infinity Stone number 2, man. I still got more to come.
No, this is the last one. I feel though. Well, firstly, I'm glad that I'm making sense and I'm not just spewing nonsense. But yeah, this is the one song where I'm like, within the context of the album. Like I said, I really like the song, but I don't get how it links with the rest of it. Maybe maybe we just need more time and it will click. Yeah. Okay. Moving on from that.
Like fakeness. I don't know. I'm just skimming the lyrics right now. I guess.
Yeah.
It's about fake
maybe
people.
Maybe by the time we get to the end of years, we'll have something crazy to say about this. Who knows? But for now, what we're saying is what we're saying. And obviously, if you're more educated or you've got more ideas, get in the Discord. Oh, Discord
Yes,
time. No, joking.
please.
Get in the Discord, get in the YouTube comments. Just
man.
tell us something, what you think about this album, what you feel about it, and all that kind of stuff. Because realistically, we're just having like a stream of consciousness here more than like what I deem to be like well analytical, educated thoughts type thing.
Yeah. We're no experts.
Well, we are experts. That's why they fucking listen to us. If you hear this comment expert in the comments or whatever the fuck, I don't know.
But yeah, I think it's clear that we all love this album, and I imagine it's at least going to get a mention during the end of year awards.
Oh,
at least get a mention. It's gonna win some awards, surely. no spoilers, but like, come on now. This album is gonna, at least for me. But yeah, that's a different conversation for a different day,
right
quite
there.
literally.
Right up there. Should we get into the next one? M.I.A.
Oh yeah,
I think we've covered Loyle
two-part.
enough.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're just gonna keep it flowing, unless you want to do like a little introduction for this.
No intro needed for M.I.A. though.
I think if people want to know our thoughts on M.I.A.'s career to date and whatnot, you can listen to our episode, our edition of Discog's Discussion, where we spoke in depth about M.I.A. and shared some of our favourite songs and songs that we felt were important at various times in her career. So yeah, go back and listen to that one. But
what I don't remember is, at that time, did we say we expected a new album from her? Because I don't remember at all. You know what I mean? Like,
Did we? I don't know. I don't think we did.
because I didn't expect.
I think she was at a point where she was like announced she'd retired. That's the thing. And she'd released like a single a month before on like her metaverse kind of thing. So
I
mean, it was all a bit confusing.
She did the song with Travis Scott, and that was a banger.
Yeah.
But
that was a moment.
I just thought maybe that's where she's at right now, is she's just doing that, which is fine. But this album, as we're going to discuss, and I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of Kieran's monologues, because I don't really have much to say other than I really enjoyed listening to this album, but I haven't listened to it that many times because it's very, very energetically crazy.
It's crazy.
I agree with that. Trust me. Good though, but but
She's back.
She's back. Well,
No.
go on, Kieran. Take the floor. Talk to us.
Well, I feel like we could start with talking about the collaborators, because I think that's one of the more interesting aspects of this album. Because, for example, she's got Pharrell as a producer. I think that's probably her highest profile producer as well. Well, actually, she always produces with Skrillex and Diplo. They're top tier as well. But yeah, this Pharrell collab. Let me get the track list up. It's called Time Traveler. What do people think of that?
It's bouncy.
It's bouncy. It's a bit like Mr. Morale as well. Do you know the title track on Kendrick's one? And I don't know. I feel like she brought something that I wasn't expecting. I'm shocked that this album hasn't done better though. And I don't know, does anyone have any answers why?
Because she's, as we said it before, she's not really a rapper's rapper. She's more like a pop artist. But this, I mean, if you listen to this album, it's not a rap album at all. But for the album to have done better, I think it's the idea of it needs an audience, and the audience for this is not very clear. If that makes
It's
sense.
hard to define what is M.I.A.'s audience, right?
Yeah.
I
when
mean, like,
was
yeah.
Well, I'm not. This isn't a slight or anything like that. When was her last big single? Like, I'm talking like, obviously,
It was
Paper
Borders,
Plane's
wasn't
different,
it?
But
I think Borders.
did that
was-
like chart well and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
about that, but it fucking banged in my ears. I love.
It's got high streams as well, so it done well. I think.
I think like where we we spoke about the kind of trajectory of her career post the first couple albums and the trouble she's had with labels and all sorts, like because of the controversial nature of her music and whatnot. I don't know. I think maybe it's just a combination of that and like how long ago was the last album? 6 years.
It's 6 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to maintain that buzz if you're having that big of a gap between music and not producing stuff on the level of like I know we keep saying his name, but Kendrick or like a Frank Ocean. If you're not doing that, then it's hard to, like I say, keep that spark going.
But this is the ironic thing in a way, because I feel like this album is such a good like successor to Carla. It really matches that vibe and the M.I.A. vibe. Do you like that crazy one with Born Free and stuff? But I feel like if that was the previous album and then 6 years later she came and dropped this, it would have been like, oh wow, she's returned and it's what we were hoping for. But I feel like these albums in between, like Matangi and AIM, were just so like, I don't know. Like I know me and Sam loved AIM and like it was good pop, but I think I don't know, there's a weird disconnect that I get in this middle section of her career. And like I don't know, did everyone get like this old school M.I.A. vibe from Mata?
Yes,
Mata?
yeah,
Mata? I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Definitely.
Is it M.A.T.A? Do you know what I mean? We don't even know.
it means a lot of things apparently.
Yeah, no, I definitely got that vibe. I felt like it was like old stuff, and like Sam said before, it was bouncy, and I enjoyed it, and it did feel like she was back because I liked the sound, and she sounded comfortable as well and confident. That was what I liked hearing from her, really. So yeah, that
She's
was
not
really
forcing
good.
it.
No, exactly.
What was that song she had where she had the video where she was a robot?
So that's popular. Yeah, I was gonna get to that as well.
Well, I just want to say for starters, M.I.A. is always a full-on vibe. Like when I say a full-on vibe, I mean like no joke. She is always coming with the visuals that match whatever the fuck she's trying to say. But like for me, what I really felt from this album was that she just like kind of just created something. Like she wasn't like, oh, I need to make an album, it needs to be a hit. She's just like, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's going on. And it shows in all the stuff that came around it, and the stuff around it being the videos, I guess. Because
that video is mind blowing too. Like I think, like you listen to Popular and you're like, okay, cool. It kind of sounds like old M.I.A. Maybe it's not as good though. You watch the video and you're like, every single thing in that song makes sense. The whole like irony and like the satirical stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Sean, you were gonna say something. Oh,
I think it might have been to do with you mentioned AIM. I think it was just to do with that. I think we might be backtracking if I say it, but I think there was a perception from, I guess, some people that she sounded a bit uninspired, and although maybe the production and the way she was like rapping on the beats was a bit more like poppy, as you say, and a bit more palatable, what she was saying and how she was saying it just didn't have that snap that it used to. Which could also contribute to why maybe she's lost a bit of buzz and why this one's not quite getting the attention that perhaps some of us feel it should get. It's just because maybe she got to a point in that part of her career where she wasn't really as inspired as she used to be. So now she's kind of got she's had 6 years out, she's got a bit of that back. And
that is a long time to have a gap from an album. I know most people, because of COVID, took like 5-year break max, but 6 years it's a lot. It really is. And I think maybe that's why this is so invigorated as well, because she's not released in so long that all these ideas are adding up. She talks a lot about COVID, as like most rappers are doing at the moment as well, because these albums are dropping.
Well, something I wanted to ask, and I'm not doing this to be to play devil's advocate, it's actually a genuine question, and it might actually make the the dynamic of the conversation a bit more interesting as well. Like, because so my thing is that from a production standpoint, I always find her work, including this, interesting because she pulls from so many different influences, music that, at least speaking for myself, doesn't reach my radar very often at all. Production-wise, it's always interesting. From another prop I want to give her, is just that some of the rapping, like the way she's flowing on beats, the way she's riding beats, I like that.
Only a woman that experimental would do that as well. That's what I love about that.
She just comes with some different. She finds some different pockets, and I like it. But what I want to say is, and again, this is genuine. This isn't me just like stirring the pot. I still feel like from a content and lyrical standpoint, it's not quite on the level of the earlier stuff. It's actually quite, in some areas, a bit simplistic and lacking in substance to me. Educate me. Where is the depth in this album in terms of the content? And
she's still political, but I think the problem is she's still talking about old issues, right? So she's still talking about things that she's always spoken about. So that's why it doesn't really feel. Or
it's not like relating to the modern day issues, kind of like the women's rights being taken in America, things like that. It would have been a cool take to hear that on the album, I think. Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't know if I was just not listening right, but that's what I felt. I felt that we weren't really. You're still like you say, it's still political. It's still got something to say, but it felt a bit redundant. And like, oh, we've heard this before, and some of the refrains even feel a bit like basic and simplistic. Almost like kind of like the generic kind of process music that you might get from some other artists. I don't want to disrespect her because
I wouldn't say you're being disrespectful. I think you're being honest, because it's like we were saying, at the beginning of this conversation, is she's mostly in the general kind of view like a pop act, and a lot of the people that would know her most famous song, Paper Planes, wouldn't be listening to this. A lot of people that have heard the Travis Scott track won't be listening to this. So it's like, as this album struggles to find an audience, I think M.I.A is also struggling to find her voice, if that makes sense. Like, she's like, well, what do I talk about right now? What do people want to hear from me? She's like, I don't know, I'm just kind of in it. And that's where I think some of the lackluster parts of it start to be felt, is where you're like, what is she really saying? What is she really doing right now? I don't know.
For real. Like, even I think one of her big inspirations lyrically on this album is like her Christian faith that she recently found. I was going to
ask you about that.
Yeah, which is just to explain it, I'll be really quick. Like, she had this crazy vision. Okay, she had this vision that like Jesus came to her in her dream and told her like the world's like getting destroyed and stuff, but like, I'm here for you. Something like that. I might be making up a bit actually for the storytelling purposes, but basically when she had that experience, it kind of blew her mind, because I think for her, she does seem to have like a lot of Hindu themes and a lot of like traditional Hindu stuff in her music throughout, and like I guess just like her life practices. So this like blew her mind, and it was like, I need to start looking at my life from a different perspective. So there is actually an interesting dichotomy in this album of seeing like the Indian influences, like on Time Traveler, she really like starts to think about it intellectually. So like on Time Traveler, she talks about Shiva, which is like one of the most famous Indian gods, but she like questions Shiva's origin and says like maybe Shiva came from Africa and is linked to the Queen Sheba. So I don't know, there's things like that. And then the opposite side of it is like her exploring the Christianity in Marigold, which is so interesting.
I was about to ask, is this where Marigold, like, where this? Why? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so Marigold is so interesting because obviously marigolds is actually a really Indian thing. So like when we put garlands on in India, it's like these marigold garlands, and there's like a metaphor for that being like every single type of person, or like can be like included on this one chain kind of thing. So like we're all connected kind of thing. That's what like the marigold garlands mean. Right. But like she's using it in this really like I don't know, it's like a politically religious song where she's like, the world needs this miracle to happen to them and like bond us all together. I don't know, I find that really powerful. And Lil Uzi Vert's on the song as well, which is so random, but it works.
Listen, can we just flex? Look, this is why we're the best music podcast out there, man. You're not getting this anywhere else. we're talking. We got PSHE, we got history, we got RE.
You're also not getting this. You're not getting this multitasking as well. But yeah, not hearing for your
Theo's got that baby in arm right now.
I'm trying to feed as well as doing this podcast.
Theo keeps that stang on it.
Let it know that we're
drying here.
multitasking as well, man. Let it know.
Yeah, we're doing a lot.
Yeah, so I just want to say that
We're doing a lot.
I'm learning things tonight.
Shout out everyone.
Yeah, everyone's bringing their piece. But yeah, I don't know. I know we originally planned to speak about this album at length, but for me, I don't have much to say other than I enjoyed it and I haven't been in the right space to listen to it. A lot of the albums that have come out recently have been my vibe. I listened to this when I was out and it got me hyped. Where the fuck was I going? I was going out somewhere and it's got me in the mood to go out. But the place I'm in right now, this album's too much energy for me, and I'm not.
You know
I'm
what
not
it is? It's a party album. I was at a party and people were asking me because I was the youngest person there, like put on some music. I was feeling stressed. I was sweating. I put on Beep. The whole place went crazy. Like,
I don't know. I realized at that moment where he was the youngest person, and he's like, "Yo, M.I.A. time."
It was an old party, but it was like Asian people. So I was like,
okay.
I know that they'll respect if I put on M.I.A. and they everyone went crazy. Like do you know, like at parties, people always putting music on. It's just like head bumping or like you're forced yourself to dance. Everyone let loose, and I was like, yeah, this is what the album's for. It's just a shame it's not like being given in that like package where people can digest it in parties and stuff like that.
Yeah, I have no idea where this album plays, but
I have no idea.
It's clearly at older Asian parties. Is this the
It's
spot?
just me streaming it.
Yeah, well, nah. There's people listening to this album. Don't get it twisted. She's still got a loyal fan base. You know, like there's still hundreds of thousands of people listening to her. Which, after what 15 odd years of a career, maybe even touching on 20, that's not a bad place to be.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
So where does it rank in her discography then?
It's a hard question.
Top 3 for me. Yeah, top 3 maybe.
Wow.
It's top 3. It's definitely top 3, I think.
It's not 1.
Wow.
And it could be 2, but I actually no, it can't be 2. Maybe it's 3. Maybe it's 3 or 4.
I would argue 2, just because the production is like so tight. Like Arula doesn't flex the way this album does production wise.
Okay.
I don't know.
How many albums she got now?
6.
6.
Yeah, I think
I would
so.
say top 3 as well, to be fair. I'm putting that up there. I would say top 3, yeah.
I'm not mad at 3. You remember with those first two, like as I think Kira mentioned, we had them both like in the top 10 UK.
Yeah, we rate them 2 albums a lot. So
okay. And then like, what next? Where do we see her going? Do we see another like 6-year gap, or do we think she's going to be more?
Well, I wanted these hip hop collabs. Like apparently she had a Nicki collab and a Doja collab that didn't make the album.
Yeah, I heard about that, and that's what made me kind of pay attention. I was like, oh, okay, you're gonna be collabing with Nicki and Doja. That's some good, good rappers, because I class Doja Cat as a rapper, even though she's technically a pop artist. If they're all on the same track, that would be interesting. If they're on separate tracks, then they could bring different vibes. You know what I mean?
If they were on this album would have hit a bit different, I think. But
100%.
apparently that's what the delays were, because Nicki wasn't sending the verse or something like that.
That is tragic.
Some bullshit.
But
If that's the case, in terms of what's next, are we like the common thing these days? Are we expecting a deluxe album with those tracks on there?
Oh, I pray for that, because
see
she
that
always
happening.
does deluxe.
yeah, I can see that happening. I can see more M.I.A. features. I don't know if I see another album at all, but I definitely see some features along the way. Those features are coming, whether we like it or not. Because the Travis Scott thing dropped out the sky, if I'm honest, and I feel like there's more stuff out there she's got floating around.
Okay.
I hear that.
Well, look, I think let's lead on to the more general conversation then about the state of the scene of UK rap. Let's just cut to the chase. I mean, has there been a drought in 2022?
There was a disgusting drought before these 2 albums dropped. This is why we made this episode. Definitely, I really think so.
100% there was a drought. I'm sorry.
Are we just not listening to it?
What was there though?
Because this is what I'm asking. Because I've been seeing these albums pop up and I've been listening to them. Some of the ones Sean's got listed here that I've seen would be Central C, Digga D, Green Tea Peng, Shy Girl, Heady One, but I don't think Heady One is out now. And then K-Trap. I added K-Trap more recently, but I don't know. Maybe we've aged out of what UK rap is right now, or we're just not finding our right people.
I think this is the problem with UK like pop rap as well. It's like they always grab a specific thing, and it almost becomes like this immature like cesspit of like people making the same like homogenic music. I'm sounding really like critical, but like I put on Nux. I'm not gonna lie, I put it on and I was just like, he's rapping interesting, but it just sounds the same.
You feel like that?
I really do.
I haven't felt that per se from Nux, but definitely there's a lot of the samey business going on, and a lot of people say, "Oh, he bit my flow. He did this. He did that." It's like, realistically, if you're the originator, make a new one. Do you know what I mean? You can always make a new one or do it better. And it's like, I think I'm gonna keep it 100 here. It's rappers like H and RD and all these kind of like cheeky
Even
Nando's
Central
rappers.
C. Even Central C.
Yeah. To be fair, I'll be honest.
to be
In the
fair, yeah.
beginning, I was a Central C fan. Yeah. He had, what was that song called? I don't know. His first few songs, bangers. You couldn't tell me anything else about Central C. Then he started getting more poppy, did the whole Pink Pantheress interpolation thing. And I was like, right, this guy's gone and I'm not interested in him because he's not aiming for the rap crowd anymore. And I don't think UK music is geared towards rapping, you know? I don't think that the general UK listener wants to hear people rapping like how we like to hear rapping or how Americans are more receptive to it. I just don't think it's in our palate.
I don't know about rap, but definitely hip hop. Definitely hip hop. I think when people say things like, "Oh, this," like, you know, when people say, "Oh, grime is like a type of hip hop," or I think our influences are derived heavily from other places, and hip hop is obviously part of it, but there's other influences that are stronger. I think just on the drought question, I think there's two things that might make it seem like there's been a drought this year, because I don't think there has. I think one of them is like, if we're doing that thing where we compare UK and across the pond, that, you know, the America specifically is a much larger country with a much larger population and a culture that's been around longer. So it's going to be in a place where the art form is of a higher quality. And
Would
there's
you
more.
say
That's
we're in
a
like
nice-
our
that's a really-
2008, 2009, like how in America
No,
everyone was
I think
professing
we're-
hip hop
we're-
is dead
No,
in
no.
2008,
We're-
2009, 2010?
We're still in the 80s, Sam. Like,
think so?
we're not. I really think so.
Nah, I think
We've got
I
some
think
great
we're, I
artists
think we're
here.
past.
We've got
I
some
think we're
great
past that.
timeless artists.
But what I'm saying is, it's like
I'm hating.
when you, with all those things that I've just mentioned, you're gonna get more. Basically, you're gonna get
Right.
more.
Yeah.
The second thing is, I think we've come off a couple of stacked years from this country, particularly like 2019. Especially.
2019 was different.
Well, we're skipping what happened last year.
No, not
Drops,
skipping.
you know what I mean?
That's the other year I was going to.
Gets and Sims. Ooh.
Yeah, we've
know,
had
so-
some good years. We can't have
Yeah.
every year be full of bangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what, if you want to hold this country to a higher standard, you should at least have like one great a year or like a few.
And then that's the argument I'm going to make, is that I think we've had that now with Loyle Carner. I think
Finally,
we've had that
I agree.
and I think that throughout the year, okay, the music, okay, we might not have had like what Conway did or what Kendrick did or what Jid's done, but there's been quite a few really strong albums and a wide range of different subgenres as well. I think, even if
think
it's
that's
not
what's happening a
particularly
lot.
our taste.
Yeah. What's happening a lot is the UK underground scene is growing. There's a lot of like Young Thug kind of sounding people, a lot of that kind of emo rock type rap sound going on in the UK. There's a lot of that going on, heavy auto-tune singers and stuff like that. But as well as that, there's a few people that I've sent in the group that I'm sure you guys like that Bars Simpson thing where they've got MF Doom.
Oh
and Jay
yeah, that's so
Electronica.
interesting.
But
Yeah.
you see what I'm trying to say? There's definitely a well-respected group of like rappers that are respected by the Americans, and I know we shouldn't, try to be validated by American people to feel like we've got something, but not every rapper in the world is getting a Jay Electronica verse and MF Doom, and it sounds like MF Doom actually raps to that beat, which means they've been with these people and around these people for quite some time, considering MF Doom's dead now. So do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's a question of things are building over here, because even Loyle Carner said he's known Madlib for some time. So maybe it's the idea of we're building, and next year might be the mad year, or the year after that. But we'll still be doing this podcast in some degree, or at least you'll be listening to me speak on this podcast feed. Who gives a fuck? But yeah, I don't know if it's a drought, and it's more like people are trying to actually get their best work out there.
Well, like I said, I don't think it is, and I remember. Do you remember when I said that I backtracked? Well, not backtrack. I just I have a different opinion now. I basically said I felt like there was a bit of a drought post Kendrick this year, and then we spoke about it, and I was like, oh no, I'm wrong. Like there's actually been quite a few really
You
strong
just tapped out,
projects.
Sean.
Something that I forgot about is that a lot of the other names that kind of are on, close. I guess what would you say? Kendrick's competitors, like searching for a better word, but they'd
Peers.
already released, right? So it wasn't like people were like they've paused or they've gone back to the drawing board and went to make something. It's like they've already put it out, and Kendrick's kind of come last. I feel like we're there. Sorry, with 2022 in a sense. Like a lot of the leaders of the different lanes in this country of our scene have dropped in recent times. But we're also still waiting on a couple. I think there's rumors of J Hus. Kano's been away for a little while. There's still some like heavy hitters who haven't dropped yet. And like you say, Sam, maybe next year we do get some of the sort of, I guess, the elite top artists in this country dropping stuff. But having said that, like I said, I don't think there's been a drought. When I went over it, I mean, just to like name a few, I think, and these aren't necessarily things that are heavy in rotation for me or necessarily like my kind of thing, but I know Koji Radical put out an album at the beginning of the year that got a lot of, got a good reception and has kind of lasted throughout the year.
I'll be honest with Koji though as well. I saw him live in summer, and the album connected a bit different. I don't know what it is about the production on that. Sorry, we're not trying to get in detail with these albums, but I feel like something about the production it doesn't have the authenticity that like Loyle Carner's Hugo has, and I think that might be one of the reasons that's holding that one back.
I think a lot of people are still finding themselves.
Yeah, there is that. For me, it was you're kind of like I'm kind of in between what you both just said there. I kind of get what you mean, but I also get what you mean about like hearing it. Did you say in the summer you heard?
I saw it live in summer, and it matched the vibe of summer.
Yeah, it felt like a summer album when it came out. It felt like a summer album. But yeah, I guess for me it was like I felt like it. In fact, no, I'm not going to go into it. It was a good album. That's one that I would
it was
say is like that was an early one. And then I don't know if you've ever heard of an artist called Jeshi. They dropped an album called Universal Credit. That's worth checking, especially if you enjoyed this Loyle Carner album. I mean, it's not no disrespect to them whatsoever. It's not on that level, but I'm aware it's their debut album, and I think it's a strong start. And then Shy Girl is. I know that's
Shy Girl hits.
We have to prelude that. We're seeing a different type of talent here. We're not seeing, the deepest levels of lyricalness and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, the flows are good, and it's cheeky. It's
some of the most fun music.
It's vibey, man. Like, not
she's a dirty girl.
Oh my god, she is dirty.
Someone had to say it.
Not every time you need to be the
the
deepest raps in the world. Like, she's having fun and it shows. So
I'm telling you, when I put on that Shy Girl album, I'm always mind blown with like how every track bangs in like a disgusting way.
Yeah, so you gotta let it do what it's doing, man. Like, I feel like some people, like, it's funny that we're on a podcast talking about music and I'm saying this, but some people take the music too seriously and don't let the fun stuff be fun and enjoyable. Like that music, I'm sure if she performs that music live, that whole room is jumping off the walls. So you know what I mean?
Do you know what? This is a weird comparison. I might be on my own, and I'm not talking about it from a production standpoint or even like a stylistic standpoint. But in terms of like what Shy Girl says, I get Danny Brown vibes.
Oh,
it's just
yes.
But what I guess the point I'm trying to make is throughout this year, there has been music that's come out from this country that is of high quality. It's varied in terms of its influences and its sound. And just to kind of cap it off, I don't think there's been a drought. I just think we're in a place where we've a lot of the big hitters have dropped already, and we're waiting on a couple others too. So
I think as well, we got to acknowledge the fact that a lot of these people that we've got on this list here, especially people like Central C, they're dropping so much music that even if you wanted to try take it in, they'd be dropping a new project or a new song before you've had a chance to take it in. And I don't think there's actually that much to take in with a lot of these rappers on this small little list we've got here. Just for reference, so the listener knows what we're looking at. The list says Central C, Koji Radical, Digga D, Nux, Jeshi, Green Tea Peng, Shy Girl, Flo Hio, I don't know who that is, M.I.A, Loyle Carner, Heady One, and I added K-Trap. All these people aren't really making big albums, bar a few. So it's like, you got to just let the music be what it is, experience it where you experience it, and not every single one needs to be, you know, a masterclass in lyricism or storytelling. Like, for example, K-Trap for me is so impressive, but no one really listens to K-Trap because they just write him off as a drill rapper. But for me, he's more than that. He goes through a lot of effort to like not say the word knife and gun, and so he makes new words for it to, you know, it's obvious if you listen you hear what he's saying. You know, when he says whap he means gun and all this kind of stuff, but the flows he gets into, the risks he takes to kind of try new, when I say try new things, obviously I'm not talking about singing and stuff like that, but when I say try new things, he's always trying to progress the sound forward. And I wouldn't say his sound is drill, it just so happens that people say he's doing drill, if that makes sense. But
I know what you mean.
But yeah, he's one of those people that I respect as an artist, and you know, his chosen art form is rap. But then, you know, Loyle Carner, M.I.A, they're doing something completely different, and the fact that we call them rappers is a discredit to themselves. You know, we should put them in the same bracket we put Lil Sims and
complete
all them kind
artists,
of people.
yeah. Sam, I was gonna say, sorry, did we forget Potty Paper as well?
Potter Paper. Potter Paper is amazing. I love Potter Paper.
Didn't he have a project?
He's fantastic. No, that was last year. That was last year.
Oh,
and
okay,
that project was fire as well.
He's the thing is, I'll tell you the truth about Potter Paper, right? He makes classic songs, and I don't know how. That song, Purpose, and the other song, Gangster Writers, I will play those songs forever. Forever. Because for the life of me, I can't tell you what is in that Purpose beat, but that beat is spectacular.
And Gangster Writers popped off a bit this year from Top Boy, right? It was on the soundtrack, and I think they did a remix with Nines.
Oh, that
Nines
remix is priceless as well. Spent more on Ubers than you spent, or let's spend $2,000 on Uber. Yeah, he's just like crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the Uber line's mad. Yeah. But I think just to kind of summarize, I think you look at that list that we made, or like the names you just read out, and there's a real range in this country. I think we're in a healthy place, and it's reflective of the last sort of 5 to 6 years. I think after that resurgence of grime, sort of like 2017 onwards, the different subgenres that we have now, the different influences that are impacting the music, and the quality of projects as well. I think we're in a healthy place, man. I really do.
I think so too, but I think it's a real shame that like radios only want drill really from UK rap artists.
Yeah,
but is that not the same in America though? Like in terms of like trap music, I know maybe not so much now, but like there was a period throughout the 2010s where
I think the sound's gone to that kind of emo pop rock sound at the moment. That whole thing, but that's a different conversation for a different podcast again. But I think the problem is now is the radio knows what artists it wants to play from the jump. It wants to play Dave. It wants to play, you know, it wants to play Digger D. It wants to play all Central C. These people, unfortunately, have the kind of gift and a curse of whatever they release, it's going to get played, but they have to be on trend. They can't set trends. And, you know, we heard that song. Has anyone listened to it since? Nope. Will everyone listen to the album? Huh?
Yeah, the video was the
video was incredible.
The video was the event.
But the video was the main point. That's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've not listened to that song again.
And there's follow-up singles that are not a vibe as well.
There has. There's another single. I've not touched it yet.
There's two singles, and I don't like them.
But on that point though, I just want to say I didn't quite finish what I was going to say, but no, it's all right. But in America, like I said, where you have like the main sound on the radio for a long period of time, and even still now is trap. But you get the odd person like a Kendrick or a Cole that breaks through. I think when you compare it to here, someone like Dave, I know we've got our opinions and this and that, but in terms of like pop music, Dave is making a higher level of rap music that is being taken in by the masses.
Yeah, and Dave has a timeless song. He has Location. Location will play till we're old and grey. You know what I mean?
Even this year, like Starlight and the other My 24th Birthday. I mean, he is other than like, okay, he's on a different level in terms of popularity, but Dave is probably the next biggest rapper in this country, I'd say, in terms of numbers.
If you want to talk about numbers, accolades, and ability, I would say Dave is currently at the top. But if
he's 2 for 2 on albums, like he makes great music, and he's young and he's only getting better. So I think that I think it's just because there's so much more out in America there's just so much more. So when it's here, it feels like there's not there's not a great deal of great music, like great popular music in a rap and hip hop sense.
I think
But
that's
we do have it.
insightful.
But rap
I agree.
music is the popular music right now. I don't know if it's falling away and it's giving way to something else. Like, I think garage might be the new kind of sound that's in. But I feel like rap is still very much like, you know, if we're talking about top tens and all that stuff that matters, there's at least 3-4 rap songs in the top 10 every week, I think.
But this is the point I was trying to make. It's like the top tens for like US rap is like, or just US music, and it's like the type of rap on that. Like you got Super Freaky Girl and all this kind of stuff. Like it's so different to what UK allows in the charts. Like Koji's music isn't in the charts, for example.
I just forgot as well. Like if J Hus drops tomorrow, he's doing huge numbers. Like J Hus,
you'd hope. Anyway,
no, 100% he is, because you got to remember that whatever he drops in there, there's gonna be some songs to what he says.
Oh yeah, there'll be a single.
Dance. Bro, he's gonna drop a song that whatever the weather, people are going to feel.
Yeah, that's true. I hear that.
And on the
that brings us back to the question that Sean has all the time: where the fuck is J Hus? J Hus can save the whole UK music scene, but he don't want to.
Yeah, that, prison, even that verse on the Burna Boy album, I was like, goodness me. But just to like on the last thing I'd say about that in terms of like, I guess, pop music from our scene, you know, look, again, we all have our opinions about. I personally, I don't really listen to his music. Like you say, Kieran, the 2 singles that have come out. I actually haven't heard the second one. I need to listen to it. But the first one that came out, it's not it for me. But we've had.
It's not it for anybody.
I don't mean to this.
That was a part. That was the part.
The point I'm trying to make is that I think that we've had worse. There's been worse music from artists that have kind of like led the way, that have been the biggest name in the country. I'm not going to name names. I don't want to do
that. Sorry. Whoa, beat that, please.
Whoa,
I said what I said.
Let's get this shit. Let's get this shit.
Who did you say?
I said what I said.
You have to listen back to hear that one.
Oh,
that's if I remember to beep it. I don't even know.
Theo, you can guess.
So you figure out what you want to figure out. I'm listening to this episode and beeping out every single time someone mentioned that name. Just what it means.
But you get what I mean, though. There's been a few guys over the last let's say, 10, 15 plus years that have like held that flag for UK rap and hip hop, been the biggest artist.
Yeah. And it's been corny.
It's not the worst. Do you know what I mean? So, like I say, I'm repeating myself now. I think overall, if you look at the different subgenres, the different influences, the different styles, we've been in a good place, and I think that it can only get better.
I have a good question, and this will be a good question to close it on. Where do we currently rate the UK rap scene out of 10? Now, this is taking the US out of account and, whatever else biases you might have. An honest, critical kind of number score of the UK scene on a whole. I'll start. Before we do that, can I just say a few, this is completely relevant to what you said, yeah? Let's just, because we've got like a kind of list on that, the run-throughs that we do. So from a hip-hop standpoint, we've got artists like Little Sims and Loyle Carner. Grime, Kano and Getz. If I miss anyone out, please say. Pop, you've got Stormzy, Dave. Street rap, I don't know if that's the term you want to call it. Nines, Potter Paper. Drill, Heady One, Digger D. Afro Swing, J Hus, Parsaloo. Alternative, you've got Young Fathers, Slow Tie. And then from a more dance perspective, you've got the likes of M.I.A. still doing things. Shy Girl is a new up-and-coming artist. The underground scene as well. I don't remember. I think they're called I don't know what they're called. The people that made that Bart Simpson track, they're underground. Whatever
that lo-fi kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
There's an artist called Lord Apex as well that deserves a shout-out. Lord Apex is cool.
Oh, but, Lord Apex is old.
Yeah, but still, they deserve a shout-out. But... And then shout
out to all the smaller independent artists that we haven't even mentioned. There's loads of you, and your songs come and go. One I really want to mention is this guy called M.I.A, M.A.K. He's got a song called Check that I really, really like. He sounds like Rich 32 a little bit. That might be a bit of an insult. I don't care. But
I'm on a podcast.
Yeah. Oh God.
I'm
Well,
talking
he might be a bit too big time for us, but
yeah.
yeah.
But then let's think about albums like Hoodies All Summer. Sometimes I might be introvert. Grey Area. Nothing Great About Britain. Big Conspiracy. Common Sense. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to like put those artists and those projects out there. Conflict of interest. I'm missing out some. Now let's give our ranks.
Mine's a strong 6.7, yeah. But the reason why I say that is because we've got some time to go.
Sorry, the 0.7. You need to explain the 0.7 first of all.
Because 6.7, shout out 6.7. I'm joking. Just the 0.7. The 6 is because I feel like we're not all the way there, and the 0.7 is because of the shining hope that is the great artist among us. You look stupid.
I was expecting like a solid number.
Nah, I'm going to the decimal point. You're not going to go to the second decimal. 6.73. Yeah, I said it.
Kieran, do you want to go next?
I have quite a critical perspective because I make music as well, and I'm just like, oh, these guys, what are they doing? So I would say. Oh, I'm working on one. Don't worry. It's a rap one as well.
Oh, well, you're rapping.
I'm not rapping. Well, I might on one track, but I'm trying to source some rappers.
If Kieran drops a rap track in the group, that means Sean's the only person left to not rap in the group.
I'd have to do something, then, right?
You have to do something.
So
I might
back
be
to
like
the rating.
Sorry, go on, Kieran.
Actually, you know what, Sam? Your rating is quite similar. I'll probably say like maybe like 6.5 because I still need a bit more hope than maybe you're feeling. But I just feel like there's amazing artists in UK. I think we've had some like 10 out of 10 albums for sure as well. But I just feel like I'd like to see it being a more communal thing that we want to like make good music. And to be fair, that list we read out of the albums this year, I feel like all of them, if they did like a follow-up project, probably would like elevate as well. So I don't know. I think there is potential, but I just don't think we're in that like the best it can be. Do you know what I mean? Like if everyone was trying to make like a conflict of interest, for example, like that's definitely not the goal right now. So that's why I'm rating 6.5.
Okay. Theo, have you got a number?
Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a straight 7. I think
Okay.
there's potential there, and the vibe's good, and it's growing, and it's coming. But a straight 7.
I'm the highest here, but I'm thinking 7.5. I think we're somewhere between good and great.
Wait, what? Sure. What did you say? Sorry.
West Side Gun just came in. Yeah, somewhere between good and great. I think we are. Yeah, I think especially some of these top albums that have come out in recent years are gonna, like, we already recognise them, but I think that 5-10 years down the line will really be held in high esteem. But like I said, I think there is a real variety to the music that comes out of this country.
Oh, so, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think somewhere between good and great. I think we're in a healthy place, and I think it's going to get better as well.
I think also, even though I said don't compare it to the US has a lot more goats to carry their score higher. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. They got a lot, and the biggest goat of them all in their eyes isn't even from the US. He's from Canada. You see what I'm trying to say?
He's not even from the country.
They claim him like he's theirs, but he's not theirs, man. So yeah, I don't know. But I think we're in a good place, but it could definitely get better.
Doesn't part, like, a little last thing I'll say is a little part of me kind of always wants the UK to be a bit more what's the word?
European?
No, I quite like the fact that we don't have a Drake or a Jay-Z, and that when one of our artists, like when Kano puts out Hoodies All Summer, when Sims does Sometimes I Might Be Introvert, you feel like immensely proud, where you're like, yeah, you're from where we're from, and they're putting it out there to the world. And I feel like if we did get to that point where we had Drakes and we had Kanye's and we had this and that, it then becomes like very much global, and it's like not as much our thing. Does that make any sense, or am I just...
You don't want it to go global, do you?
That makes a lot of sense.
Hey, this is Sean, and thanks for listening to another episode of The Grey Area. Are you an upcoming artist, critic, journalist, or content creator? Hit us up on our Discord or in our YouTube comments if you want to share new music, take part in an interview, or are interested in collaborating. Links to these can be found in the show notes. Take care.